Welcome to the House of Faith and Fashion, right here on the Connect Network TV. I'm your host, Toby Rubenstein, author of the best-selling series, The House of Faith and Fashion. This is my home where I bring the pages of my book to life. Every week, I bring exclusive interviews from powerhouses and trailblazers in the fashion industry, plus the biggest fashion moment forecasts. If you ever wondered what it would be like to be in the fashion industry and be the insider, my guests have the golden ticket. Today, the founder and owner of the first online subscriber service dedicated to fashion weeks all over the world, Pablo Starr, is here for a visit. He will share what you need to get a seat at the front row of every fashion week around the world. And later, I have St. Thomas University's fashion and merchandising program director, and really one of my BFFs, Ashlee Rzyczcki, here to talk about the education before you get to the runway. There's a lot of work to do. The fashion industry has always been a place of exclusivity and mystery. My hallelujah fashion moment today is coming straight from the Paris runways. The Row, the designer brand by Ashlee and Mary-Kate Olsen, kindly asked all of the attendees to their show to refrain from being on the phone. Keep your phone away from the runways. They did not want their show to be photographed. Essentially, no phone use, which is kind of reminiscent of the pre-internet era. So although there are obvious pros and cons for sharing photos on the runway, let's face it, overexposure steals the allure of fashion. When the collection hits the stores, you're already bored of it. Consumers have seen it, we'll call it trending, thousands and thousands of times, which makes it over before it's it. So it's not even it because you can't even get it and you're not interested in it any longer. I long for the days of fashion journalists like Elsa Clench on CNN and the iconic Joan Rivers, who reviewed it for E! Those two journalists gave exclusive access to the insights of what red carpet and the fashion shows were really like. I have faith that I'm doing my part to give all my visitors an inside look into the fashion industries around the world. And I have faith that you'll know what to do in this social media world. In a moment, founder and owner of Fashion Week Online, Pablo Starr, is here to weigh in on the pros and cons of the fashion runway and social media coverage. Is it really that good? And give us some Fashion Week exclusives right after a word from our sponsors.
Say goodbye to signs of aging and inflammation caused by an imbalance in the trillions of microbes on your skin's microbiome surface. The Dermabiome Collection by Green Beauty is a groundbreaking blend of science and nature designed to restore your skin's delicate ecosystem and soothe skin irritation, offering a one-of-a-kind solution not found elsewhere on the market. Green Beauty, changing lives, one face at a time.
Welcome back to the House of Faith and Fashion. Today is all about being a fashion insider, whether that means exclusive access to fashion weeks around the world, having your design seen on runways, or having a career in fashion merchandising. Right now, I have a very special visitor. I'm really, really honored. We have writer, musician, creator, and owner of Fashion Week Online, Pablo Starr. Welcome, Pablo Starr.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You are looking very on a tour with your sunglasses, darling.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's a very, very chic fashion look.
Thank you.
So I did your style check already, but please share with our viewers, what exactly is Fashion Week Online?
Well, Fashion Week Online is basically a platform where people can find out about when fashion weeks are coming up, how they can attend, if they're a model, how they can get involved in casting, attend castings, and
Wow.
basically how to get into one way or another the industry or this, previously very exclusive fashion event that happens, twice a year and more than twice a year, depending on where you go.
So Fashion Week Online is the first of its kind. Can you share the history and what inspired you to start this business?
Yes, I was in a band, and my band played a fashion show in Los Angeles. And I decided to start doing more fashion shows to bring people to see my band. And then after a certain amount of time, I wasn't making really a living playing music. I had some success with radio play and things, but certainly I knew people who took off and made a lot of money, and who were just able to be successful. And I wasn't able to reach that level financially. So I needed a business. So I heard about this thing called Fashion Week. Couldn't find out any information about it. So I decided to make a website where people could find information and go if they wanted to.
Well, that you started in what year?
Around 2011, 2012, in a tiny one, not even a bedroom, like a studio with crappy carpet in Los Angeles with my girlfriend at the time and my wonderful cat at the time, just daydreaming about being involved in fashion and going to Fashion Week and having a career in something that was not a temporary job, because I was doing temp jobs while I was playing music.
When did Fashion Week Online blow up? When did you start associating with that?
It took about 5 years, which for me is a very short amount of time, considering how long I played music and I've done other projects. It was surprisingly, I mean, I think for a lot of people, 5 years, you had to do it for 5 years, not making any money, and big discouraged. And, for me, that's a cakewalk. And I really couldn't think of what else to do. A couple of times I tried to quit. And my girlfriend at the time said, well, is it making you some money? I said, yeah. She said, are you people excited about it? I said, they seem to be. And so she said, just keep going with it.
By the way, that's really, really inspirational, because you're telling everybody, you stuck with it until it completely blew up, because everybody knows what Fashion Week Online is. It's access to everything fashion. But how did you create this business out of the platforms and the passions that you have? You have so many layers to this.
Well, I had a lot of good skills. Fortunately, I had been building websites for my band. So I had some basic ideas of the nuts and bolts of website creation because I'd been doing it. I have a master's degree in creative writing, so I was able to do a lot of the copywriting myself, which means just kind of like that veneer of professionalism when it comes to, and I'd worked in a newspaper before back in New Orleans. So I kind of knew the nuts and bolts also of sounding like Associated Press style, and had an idea of how things should look. And then I just educated myself a little by little, because at first it looked pretty bad. And I started studying just on my own, just studying other websites and how does white space work in the fashion space? How do the good websites look? How does Vogue look? How does Elle look? What about them makes them look the way they look? And that was really it was a learning curve. What kind of fonts are they using? But it's little subtle things. And my ex-girlfriend actually helped me a little, also would point out, look at all the white space. Look how much white space is in the luxury market. It's a luxurious effect. So it was just educating myself about how things are supposed to look, how things are supposed to sound, and creating something that I thought people could be proud to be in.
That's amazing. Well, Fashion Week started in New York, but you're calling me from Paris, and you have a business partner that is in New York. So how does that work, and what's the yin and yang of your relationship?
Well, I moved from Los Angeles to New York, and I do most of the nuts and bolts of the website and the business. He's out there meeting people, doing the things I don't want to do, which is being sociable and glad handing and getting to know people and being on the ground. So it has much,
right?
Networking. So it's something I don't like to do. I like to get home with my dog, previously my cat, now my dog, doing my stuff. And so it hasn't changed much in terms of, I just have to send him all the New York Fashion Week invitations and information, so he has it, because before, I was going to those shows as well.
So what tips do you have for those looking to grow their own blogs, now that you are the majesty of all of them?
And I think if anything you're doing, you just have to stick to it. And it's not going to be easy. And I think a lot of it is just getting past the raw discouragement. There is so much discouragement that goes into everything. A lot of it, I think, is just sticking to it and talking yourself through it and visualizing where you want to be. Because if you just visualize where you are, like me in that tiny little apartment, it's crushing. So you have to have this daydream that's so vivid in your head that, because I remember my ex-girlfriend asked me, what motivates you? You're up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, you're working on this website, you're doing it all day. We go do something, come back, I'm working on it again. I get home from this hour-and-a-half commute from this temp job in another part of Los Angeles. If you've been to LA, you know what the traffic is like there, hour and 30 minutes every night. And I'm coming back and I'm working on it again. And it was just because I had this dogged vision of, maybe at the time, the timing wasn't right for me to play music successfully, but maybe I could find something that was fun where I didn't have to go to this job every day. And have this really sort of demoralizing experience of a daily grind.
You have an amazing history in the fashion industry, so you've seen a lot going on. How have you seen fashion change in the years?
Well, when I first started, inclusiveness was a new thing. The idea of different body positivity was a new thing. When the
Yes,
first, plus size, they called them at the time, they're not even using that much anymore.
Right.
Lines came out, it was a big deal. People of different capabilities on the runway.
Right.
We had an acid attack survivor, one year. I think that was very important. I'd like to see more of that. There are a lot of people that need to be brought into the fold. I think that a lot of the problems that people have in this world, it's not the things that happen to them. It's social isolation and alienation from not feeling like they're part of the larger community. So I think when fashion does stuff like that, when it embraces all kinds of people, all kinds of experiences, and brings them up front, that's the proudest thing I've ever seen fashion do.
So how do you help Fashion Week's admirers become Fashion Week insiders, that they could see what you see?
Well, a lot of it depends on what level of interaction you want to have with the industry. If you're somebody who wants to be an industry person, you can definitely learn a lot for free at Fashion Week Online. We have actually articles and things that you can learn about how to register, how to be part of to register as an influencer or as a press person. But a good way to get your feet wet is to go and maybe buy some tickets to something or get to know it. We have parties and events where you can mingle with other people and meet them as well. People in the industry, photographers and models. And so it's a nice hub, I think, for people who are trying to break into the industry as well as people who are more experienced in the industry. I think it's what's nice about it. It's a bridge for a lot of people who want to be involved and get involved in it. They don't know where to start, especially castings. It's very hard to get these castings to the big shows. You have to have an agency already. But there are certainly casting opportunities available for independent models, depending on, you have to scale your expectations a little bit but it's really important, I think, if you want to get involved, to start getting involved.
So a membership to Fashion Week Online could be so many things. If you're a model, it could help you with your modeling career. If it's a brand, it help you be placed on the runway. If it's an admirer, it's someone to get you seats seats at the show. You offer everything into Fashion Week, from the back of the house, as we say, to the front of the house, correct?
I hope so. And a lot of people just want to go with their girlfriend or their fiance or their granddaughter. Like we have people, frequently we get emails along the lines of, I have a granddaughter who's interested in fashion, and she wants to come and just see what it's about and feel the energy and feel the inspiration. And so it's very exciting when you can do things like that for people, because otherwise, where would they necessarily find those opportunities? You can definitely find them, but we also try to screen out some of the ones that are a little less reputable and promote the ones that we think are more fun and more well-produced.
Yeah. So Fashion Week Online's been around since 2011. So here's my question. During any of those shows that you've seen since then, do you recall any spirituality being influenced on the runway, a little sparkle of spirituality when viewing? Anyone stand out for you?
I think I'd be surprised. I think a lot of fashion designers rely on some sort of higher power to succeed, especially in a business like any entertainment business is fraught with a lot of self-destructive habits and self-destructive people. And I think in order to be successful and to swim in that world, I think it's important to have a really healthy and mindset. And I think a lot of that comes with some sort of belief in a higher power or spirituality.
I can just say amen to that, because that's my happy place. Obviously, you're in the house of faith and fashion. How can an up-and-coming designer work with you?
All they have to do is contact through the website. A lot of the times we'll put up a press release from a show. If someone's had a recent show, they can email us. And if it's newsworthy, if it's a good show, a good collection, it was someplace cool, or it just was a cool collection, we're happy to put it up. We're happy to support independent designers. That's kind of why we're here. That's really the joy of what we do, is that otherwise it would just be, it wouldn't quite have the same punch and feeling of gratitude.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you conveying that to the audience, because it could be a bit of a scary place, and you really make it so much more welcoming. But Pablo, we talked about this the other day on the phone. I talked about, in relation to the show that the Row had, where they restricted cell phone service and said, you know what, please enjoy the show, don't record the show, basically no cell phones, actually be in the moment. And how do you feel about social media's impact on fashion?
To me, it speaks to a larger issue of social media in general. I feel it's extremely toxic a lot of the time. I will use Instagram as a little document of my life, especially when I'm doing something fun. I feel like it's so important to be in the moment. Just this constant addiction to clicking. It's like an endorphin rush. It's like a serotonin addiction.
Yes.
I think it's so important to just be in the moment and to be calm and to be where you are. And I like to think, I could be very wrong, that in the future, we will look back on this time and be like, remember when everybody had to take a picture of every single thing? And I'm still the same way. Even if I don't share it, I feel the need to take a picture of my meal because it's so beautiful. And it's kind of nice. I can sort of re-experience, if I even decide to look back at it, which I don't even do half the time, I can sort of see it again. But it's a real weird addictive thing we have of wanting to share every single moment of our life to the point where it's like,
too much information, right?
And why even do it when you could be with people that you care about and actually be experiencing the moment? We don't have to preserve every single thing. It's a little neurotic, but
right. So. It's more about the self-indulgence than the creative genius of the designer that's putting forth his guts. Really, what his whole soul goes down the runway. Because you know how designers are. This is a very, very personal process. But Fashion Week Online is also a press release for the fashion industry. You do a lot of press, like you said before. So I want to take the time, Pablo, publicly to thank you because you covered the launch of my first book release during COVID with Fashion Week International. And you also covered the pre-order of my second book in Paris with Fashion Week Online, and even covered my walk down the runway. So I have to thank you for doing that and believing in me. And I really, really appreciate that. I know that you're a very good friend with Tracy. And I just had to say, it's not just her. I know that you were in it also. So I thank you. So before you go, can you tell our visitors out there how to find you and gain membership to Fashion Week Online?
I just go to Fashion Week Online or you go to fashionweekonline.com/VIP. But just basically go to Fashion Week Online and you'll find the information.
And you'll find everything. Okay, great. So, we also talked about this. Every visitor on the House of Faith and Fashion gets with 3 rapid questions. So you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. How much faith do you need to be in business?
I think you need an extreme amount of faith. And I think part of it is because I think you need a lot of faith in life, basically. Because, it's the funny thing about it is I used to think that if I was faithful enough, I would get all the things that I want. All my dreams would come true if I was just faithful enough and had enough spirituality or faith. But, it occurs to me as I go, that it's really up to the universe, God, however you want to put it, what I'm going to receive. And I have to be grateful either way. It's not God or the universe's job to give me everything I want or make my dreams come true. So that's the next level, I think, of spirituality is acceptance. And that's real humility. And by humility, I don't mean like, oh, I'm like so pious. I mean,
no, it's humility.
That's literally like when you have to surrender and be like,
surrender.
I'm doing my best. Whatever you're going to bring me, you're going to bring me. But I have to be grateful. And in this world, with all the horrible things you could arguably read about at any given moment because they are existing, you have to be grateful for everything.
Well, that's such a great answer. But so I'm going to ask you the second one. Do you think that your talents are God-given?
I like to think so, but I think that routes back to the original question. That might be something between me and God and not something between me and the world. So if I express something artistic, maybe nobody will ever see it except this universe. But maybe that's the relationship.
Here's my last delicate question. Describe how a person should dress to a house of worship.
Oh, yeah. I think it really depends on why you're dressing up. I think if you're dressing up as a form of being sacred or as a form of communion, I think you should dress well. But if you're dressing up to impress the other people there in the place with you, then you're kind of missing the whole point of being there.
Yes, 100%. So I thank you so much for visiting with me and bringing such, I can't think of it, humility, humanity, just grace to the fashion industry that I think that a lot of people didn't know is out there. And you are huge and your access is huge. And I thank you for really being on. And I want all my visitors to sit tight because when I come back, I'll be joined by Fashion Merchandise Program Director at STU. She is here to help you with your passion and education of fashion.
Give me that faith. Give me that passion. 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 Welcome to the house of faith and fashion.
Welcome back to the House of Faith and Fashion. Right now, I'm joined by Florida St. Thomas University Fashion, Merchandising, and Design Program Director, Ashlee Rzyczcki. Welcome, Ashlee.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor. This is like a dream come true. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Ashlee, we talk all the time, and Ashlee is in book number 2. And I'm curious enough, her essay is called "The Rabbi and the Nun" because we are faith sisters. So this is going to be an easy interview for me because I have so many questions. But Ashlee, tell me about your time at St. Thomas University. Why did you choose this school, and what's your role?
This was such a divine intervention for me because I was at a faith-based school prior to coming to St. Thomas University. And the president here at St. Thomas also went to the school that I went to. I have gone to Catholic schools, faith-based schools my entire life. My parents strongly believe in faith integration into education. And so I was at a former university, and we had one of the largest fashion merchandising programs at that school in a small town in Pennsylvania. And
Wow.
so one of the things he said was, well, if you can make that program successful in a small town in a rural area in Pennsylvania, you could probably come down to Miami and start a program and be successful at it. So, I feel very grateful that he believed in me to be able to start it. And 4 years ago, right now, we're going on our 4th year in the program of the fashion merchandising. But then this summer, we are starting a design component. And so it's been a whirlwind. It's been an incredible journey. And I feel so blessed to be on this journey.
You're now the program director of this big fashion school. There's a lot happening with your program at St. Thomas University. There's fashion shows, there's internships, there's talks, which I've been a part of 2 of them. So I'm very honored to do that.
So let's take a look, first of all, at who our student population is. Number 1, we are a federally recognized Hispanic and minority serving institution. So that gives you a glimpse of who our students consist of. But also what makes us, I think, really unique is that 70% of our students are Pell eligible students. We have some non-traditional students that have come back to be able to get a degree in design. We have students that are your traditional graduating from high school, students that maybe have taken a couple of years of break from high school. We actually had, or college, I'm sorry, but we actually had a student that came here, thought maybe that they could actually go back to work and see if they can actually start a brand, and then realized, you know what, I need some further education, and came back to schools.
That's fantastic. But now let's talk about this up and coming fashion food showcase that you're working on. This is about fusing 2 of my passions, also faith and fashion, but also fashion and food. So when did this start, and what does it do?
Okay, so this actually started a couple of years ago. To be honest with you, it really has 3 different objectives. Number 1 is create awareness of our program. Toby, you've had the opportunity to be on our campus, and
Yes.
we just got to get people here. Once they see
Beautiful.
it, they realize how beautiful the campus is, how much of a hidden gem it is when you come onto our campus. People are blown away. The first objective was, okay, we got to create some awareness, create some buzz, get them on campus. And so once we get them here, it's they are wanting to come here. They feel the energy. So getting on campus, that event actually provides that opportunity. Number 2, really what it serves as a fundraiser. As I mentioned before, we take our students to an international location every other year. Number 3, it also allows our students to have that experiential learning, that hands-on experience of putting on a fashion production. So it does provide a lot of different opportunities for our students here at St. Thomas. But we align with, like you said, it's not just the fashion part, it's the culinary. So we do have a culinary and hospitality program where they do also create food. And so it gives them an awesome opportunity to be able to test out recipes and be able to do some really creative things.
Listen, I can't wait to be there, but I got to share with you my 3 rapid faith and fashion questions, which I know to you, I can answer them for you. I already know what the answers are. I'm almost like, oh, I know what she's going to say, because we worked on so many faith and fashion events together. But how much faith do you need to be in business?
Everything I do is a leap of faith. If I didn't have faith, I would not be where I'm at today. If I didn't have faith, I wouldn't be starting some of these programs that I was petrified to come down here to start a program. I didn't know how to do that. I just worked in a program, but it was a leap of faith, and God put me on this path. And I realized that, you know what, God has a plan for me every step of the way. And whether it works out or doesn't, I know God is going to be able to help me along this journey.
Please describe how somebody should be dressed for a house of worship.
I think I've taken some lessons from you, Toby, because I've seen how you wear what you do on a daily basis, because you are the most faithful person I've ever met. And so, be able to reflect yourself in a modest way, but also be fashionable and be able to demonstrate that. I think for me, I've grown up in a household that has really demonstrated modesty. And so I think that's really important. But ultimately, I think you also want to be able to reflect who you are and what you stand for. You taught me just the idea that you can be fabulous, but also integrate faith in your wardrobe.
Listen, I really appreciate you being on, even though I talk to you all the time and you're a really, really close friend. And I'm just really, really happy that you came to give us the educational part. Before you get to the runway, what do you have to learn in order to make it to the runway and to be a brand? It just doesn't happen. So can you tell my viewers where they can find out more about St. Thomas University and getting prepared for a fashion career?
Yeah, so the first thing that you can do, you can check us out on our website at www.stu.edu/fashion. So that has a lot of information about our courses, classes. You can get in contact with me that way. But I also encourage you to follow us on Instagram. So everything that we are doing, everything that the students are doing, it's on our Instagram. So if you go to STU Fashion Miami, you can find us. We're always posting information about what the students are doing, projects, and you can also get a hold of me that way too. So those are two of the best methods to be able to get in touch with the program. But also plug in for April 4th. Come to our food and fashion event. You will be able to see me. You'll also be able to see the incredible talent of our students and the collaborations with local designers as well.
Well, everybody get excited, because Ashlee, my dear friend, is going to be with us all season long. And, she's with me all the time anyway. So I'm now sharing this friendship with you. So stay with us and we'll be right back.
Are you into fashion? Would you like to take your passion for fashion and turn it into a career? Hi, I'm Professor Ashlee Rzyczcki. Right now, you can enroll in St. Thomas University's fashion merchandising program, which combines creativity, style, and fashion with business and analytical skills. You will learn how to buy, sell, develop, and market fashion products all around the world. So what are you waiting for, fashionista? Apply today at stu.edu/fashion.
Welcome back to the House of Faith and Fashion. I'm your host, Toby Rubenstein, and I really enjoyed today's show. Thank you, Pablo Starr, and thank you, Ashlee Rzyczcki, and I hope you were all able to learn more about becoming a fashion insider and education about being in the fashion industry. I also hope that your faith has increased, because you really need to have a lot of faith in yourself and a lot of faith above to make it in this industry. And we'll see you April 4th at St. Thomas University Food and Fashion event. It's going to be so unbelievable. Get your tickets.